All right, guys, we're going to pick up from our lesson from yesterday. On yesterday, we learned how to create a perfect square trinomial by finding the value of c that will complete the square. Today, we are going to add on to that. So today we're going to learn how to go from standard form to vertex form. We have previously learned how to multiply two binomials in factored form to go to standard form, and then we learn how to go from standard form to factored form, and now we're going to learn how to go from standard form to vertex form. All right, so they gave me standard form. Y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 17. First of all, this is not a perfect square trinomial because when I look at that last number over there, that negative 17, half of 2 squared ain't 17. So this number over here is going to be a perfect square, and it ain't. So I need to move it away so I can actually create me a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to move this negative 17 to the other side of the equation. What's the opposite of adding negative of subtracting 17? Adding 17. And whatever I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other side. Well, y plus 17 is just going to stay y plus 17. I can't combine them because they ain't like terms. Bring down my x squared. Bring down my 2x. Well, negative 17 plus 17 are opposites, aka inverses, so they will cancel out. Now I have this blank spot just like we did yesterday. It's just not a box up here, but I can write me a box. So if I add a box to this side of the equation, what must I do to this side? We just got to figure out what's going to go in the box. So half of my b value, which is what? 1. All right. Half of b, 1, and 1 squared. 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. And if I put a 1 in this box, what do I have to put in this box? A 1. Now we simplify. Y plus 17 plus 1. What is 17 plus 1? 18. Now we need to write this as those two binomials that are going to be twins. But I'm just going to write it one time. So I would get x plus 1 squared. That's why we put the 2 ones right here, because that let me know I got it twice. So x plus 1 squared. Is this in vertex form yet? Boom. No, because in vertex form, y is by itself. This y ain't by itself. So I need to get this 18 out the way. So I'm going to move it, because it's my constant term, back to the other side of the equation. What's the opposite of adding 18? Subtracting 18. Whatever I do to one side, I do it to the other side. Notice I did not put the negative 18 with my perfect square trinomial that I created, because I can't put this inside the parentheses. They don't go together. So what's going to cancel out? And I am left with y is equal to x plus 1 squared minus 18. We have written it in vertex form. So we're going to type it in Desmos to make sure that we are correct and that they are equivalent. Because if they don't match, that means it's wrong and it's not equivalent. Well, they're right. Now we need to find the vertex. I can find the vertex by using my Desmos or using my equation. My vertex is my h and k value. H and k. But is your h value, aka in the parentheses, is it actually a positive one? Because this says x minus h and this says x plus 1. So that means it's the what? We learned this in, I don't know, December. The opposite. So I get negative 1, comma, negative 18. Is that what the Desmos said? Absolutely. Now the question is this a maximum or a minimum graph? It is a minimum because the graph is low. The point is the lowest point on the graph, which means the minimum value, the lowest on the graph, is talking about how high or how low. Which one of these values is talking about how high or how low? The x or the y? The y. So the minimum value is y is equal to negative 18. Well, what is your axis of symmetry? That ain't on there, but we could still find it. If you said x is equal to -1, you are absolutely right, because there it go right there. It's in the equation. And if you're not sure, we can always type it in. X is equal to -1. There it goes, splitting my parabola in half. All right, let's look at our next example. We have y is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8. Is this a perfect square trinomial? Absolutely not, because this is not a perfect square at the end, and half of 6 squared ain't 8. So we need to move it out of the way so we can actually create a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to take this positive 8 and I want to move it to the other side of my wall. What's the opposite of adding 8? Subtracting 8, and whatever we do to one side, we do to the other side. Well, I'm going to get y minus 8 because I can't combine them because they're not like terms. Bring down my x squared plus 6x, and plus 8 minus 8 will cancel out because they're opposites. Now I get the opportunity to create me a perfect square trinomial. All right. How? I take half of my b value. Half of a positive 6 is a positive 3. And 3 squared, aka 3 times 3, is equal to what? 9. There goes my perfect square trinomial. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do to what? The other side. All right, now we need to simplify. All right, so y minus 8 plus 9. If you don't know what it is, use the calculator. Positive 1. All right, we need to factor this, aka those two parentheses that are the same. Well, we'll get x. How many times did we write this 3 on the side of the box? Twice. So x plus 3 squared. Boom. Is it written in vertex form yet? Absolutely not, because vertex form has y by itself. And with this y is a plus 1. What is the opposite of adding 1? Subtracting 1, because I got to get this constant out the way by doing inverse operations. So subtract 1 from both sides. Well, what's going to cancel out? Plus 1 minus 1, because they're opposites. And I get x plus 3 squared, and minus 1 goes on the end. Is it in vertex form yet? Yes. Now let's type it in Desmos to see if we were right and see if our parabolas are going to match. Y is equal to x plus 3 squared minus 1, and they match. So let's find our vertex and our maximum and our minimum value. Now, x plus 3 squared minus 1, what should I highlight to help me identify my vertex? H and K. All right, but this H is inside of the parentheses, which means it's going to be the opposite. So what is the opposite of positive 3? Negative 3. Is that what the Desmos said? Absolutely, so we were right. Is this graph a maximum or a minimum? It is a minimum because it is at its lowest point. And what is the minimum value? How low? AKA y, because that goes up and down. So my minimum value is y is equal to -1. What is your axis of symmetry? X is equal to -3. And you could type it in the Desmos and see. Because if you said it was 3, well, is that line cutting the parabola in half? Absolutely not. It ain't even nowhere over there. So there we go. All right, let's look at our next example. Y is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. It is not a perfect square trinomial because this last term is not a perfect square, and half of 4 squared ain't 5. All right, so we need to move this constant term out of the way to the other side so I can actually create me a perfect square trinomial. What is the opposite of subtracting 5? Adding 5. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other side. So this is going to give me y plus 5 because I can't combine them because they're not like terms. What are we going to bring down? X squared plus 4x. And I get to create me a perfect square trinomial. All right. How? How are we going to find the C value that will give me a perfect square trinomial? I'm going to take half of my B value. So half of 4 is 2. And what is 2 squared? 4. And if I add 4 to this side of the equation, what do I got to do to this side? Add 4. Now we simplify. Y plus 5 plus 4. What is 5 plus 4? 9, a positive 9, is equal to, I need to create that perfect square trinomial, like the binomial with the square, because it's two of the same things. So what would it be? X plus 2, because we got the 2 2's on the side of the box. That's what's helping me. And how many of them do I have? 2. So x plus 2 squared. Is it written in vertex form? No, because this 9 is over here. And in vertex form, y is by itself. So how do we get this 9 to the other side of the equation? I subtract it. And what's the opposite of subtracting 9? Not the opposite of subtracting 9. Whatever I do to one side, I got to do to the other side. All right, what's going to cancel out? Because they're opposites, which is going to leave me with y is equal to x plus 2 squared minus 9. Were we right? And we were. Now, what is my vertex? What is the opposite of plus 2? Because it's inside the parentheses. So my vertex should be -2, comma, -9. Were we right? And that's what Desmos says. Is this a maximum or a minimum? If you notice, all of these doggone graphs are saying they're all happy faces because my A value is 1, which is a positive 1. So this is going to give me a minimum graph where my Y value, my minimum value would be Y is equal to -9. What would be my axis of symmetry? X is equal to -2. All right. Y is equal to x squared minus x plus 7. And I need to create me a perfect square trinomial. So I am going to move my constant term, which is this positive 7, to the other side. What is the opposite of adding 7? And whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side, which is going to give me y minus 7 is equal to x squared minus x plus what value to complete my square, because positive 7 and negative 7 are going to cancel out. All right. I take half of my b term. Well, what is my b term? I don't see no number in front of the x, which means that it is a minus 1x. So I take half of that, which would give me 1 divided by 2, give me 1/2 or 0.5. So we can use a decimal. I don't care. All right. Now, what number is going to go inside the box? I already took half of my b term. So 0.5 squared gives me 0.25. So that's what's going to go in the box. And if I add 0.25 in this box, what do I got to do to the other side? Add 0.25. All righty. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So now we need to simplify. Y minus 7 plus 0.25 gives me negative 6.75. So y minus 6.75 is equal to, what is going to be my form right here? That's going to give me that perfect square trinomial, aka that parentheses with a square on the side. Oh, and we made a mistake, y'all. This should be a negative 0.5 because negative 0.5 look at me messing y'all up. All right. I say that because when I get ready to write my factored form and stuff, if that negative is not there, it's going to be wrong. So we should get x minus 0.5 squared because it's two of them. Is it in factored form? Vertex form yet? Absolutely not. What should we do? We got to take this constant term and move it back to the other side. What's the opposite of subtracting 6.75? Adding 6.75. Whatever I do to one side, got to do to the other side. Well, what's going to cancel out? These, because they're opposites, which will give me y is equal to x minus 0.5 squared plus 6.75. Let's type it in and see if we was right. Y is equal to x minus 0.5 squared plus 6.75. And we were right. All right, what is your vertex? We have my h and my k. But this h says x minus 0.5. So that means that my vertex, my h value, the opposite of negative 0.5 would be positive 0.5. And my k value would be 6.75. Exactly what it says. My minimum value, because it said its lowest point, would be y is equal to 6.75. And what would your axis of symmetry be? X is equal to 0.5. There we go. All right, last problem. Y is equal to x squared minus 9x minus 4. All right, what do we need to do first? Identify my constant term. Move it to the other side of the equation. What's the opposite of minus 4? Add 4. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other side. So this is going to give me y plus 4 because I can't combine them. They're not like terms. Bring down my x squared minus 9x. And these will cancel out. And now I get to find the value of c that is going to complete my square. And I'm just adding my box on both sides. How do we do that? Half of my b value. What is half of negative 9? Negative 4.5. All right. And I need to figure out the value that's going to go in the box, which will be negative 4.5 squared, which will give me 20.25. Oh, it's going to have to be a little smaller. And whatever I add to one side, I add to the other side. All right, now we just need to simplify. All right, this is going to give me y. All right, 4 plus 20.25, give me 24.25. Is equal to what is going to be my little factored form that I'm going to put right here. X minus 4.5 squared, because it's two of them. All right, is it in vertex form yet? No, because I have this constant value over here, and it needs to be back here. So we're going to move it to the other side. What is the opposite of adding 24.25? Subtracting 24.25, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. What's going to cancel out? These, because they're opposites, which is going to leave me with y is equal to x minus 4.5 squared minus 24.25. All right, let's type it in Desmos to see if we are right. And they're the same. So what would our vertex be? H and K. What's the opposite of negative 4.5? A positive 4.5. And my minimum value, because it's the lowest point on the graph, would be y is equal to negative 24.25. And what would your axis of symmetry be? 4.5. All right, you could paste these in your notebook.